Welcome to another episode of Conversation with Lamp. I'm your host, James Lampkin, and my guest today is a mental health therapist, Mrs. Latetia Bland-Thurgood. Thank you for joining me.
No, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
We actually met at a networking event for.
Melanin marketer.
Are y'all friends?
Yes, we're friends on Instagram.
What about
but
real
like
life?
in real life, no. But we network in real life because that's what that event taught us to do.
So yeah, but so me personally, I really don't like her. No, I'm just playing.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, wait, I think she's cool. But okay.
Nah, she real cool.
I'm gonna let you know that. Shantae, I want you to know I had your back, sis.
Nah, she good folks. She good folks. I enjoyed that. But yeah, we had met there and we had a side conversation, and I was like,
for a long time.
Yeah, because
I was like, I definitely have an hour drive home, but I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Yeah, and it was late too.
And it was late. It was super late. Yeah.
How you been?
Good. I'm still in a state of transition, right? But feeling pretty good.
Yeah, we could start right there.
We can start right there.
Because that was like the bulk of our conversation. You was telling me like you was getting out the military after like 14 years. And I was like, that's a lot of time to just leave on the table. So,
yeah.
How did you end up coming to that decision?
So I was a cadet in 2008. So technically I've been in uniform for almost 20 years, right? And I didn't really want to join to begin with. Like I came to the military by way of tragedy and wanting to finish college. Long story long, I was in school at Howard University and my stepfather passed suddenly and he was the other income in our household.
Oh.
And so I thought, I was like, all right, I'm gonna drop out of school so I can help my mom and like just get things back in order after he passed. And my mom was like, you have been dreaming of going to college literally since you were like 6 years old. Like you cannot drop out. Like we'll figure it out. And I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. At the time, the person I was dating was in Army ROTC. And so I said, okay, well, let me just check this out and see and maybe get this scholarship. So long story long, I ended up going to Air Force ROTC by way of Bowie State and University of Maryland. And I got my scholarship pretty quickly. And then I came in. But I was like big afro, purple hair, fight the system. I was protesting and chaining myself to trees and all kind of crazy. Like that was me, right? And so when I joined, my friends were just like, girl, you gonna do what? And even, 4 years in, my best friends were just like, you still doing this like thing that you said you would never do? Like you're still doing it? And I was like, I guess, yeah, I'm still here. So just, I came by way of something I didn't necessarily want to do to begin with. And then, I don't know, there were times where it felt like it fit. And then there were times that it didn't. And the times that it felt like it fit stuck with me. So I would keep going. And so I go to Germany for my first duty station. I love Germany. I loved everything. I loved everything about it. I want to go back every day.
Really?
And so it kept me in.
Well, why Germany?
It was beautiful. I went there kicking and screaming. I was begging. I was like, put me in DC, like station me somewhere close to my mama, whatever. And when I actually went, because the Air Force was telling me like, sis, you're going, right? And so I went, and it was just like, I remember I showed up, it was like a snowstorm like 2 days later, and it was gorgeous. It was just like it was so quiet and serene, and it was just like very green, like everywhere. And it was, I just remember feeling this like overwhelming sense of peace. And then like the first couple months were a little tough because I lived in a very tiny village and nobody spoke English. I was the only Black person in my village. And so that was its own stuff, right? But then once I got to know my neighbors, they were so sweet to me. They really liked hot dogs and American sodas. And so I would bring those home from the base and we would just have wine and hot dogs and hamburgers at their house because they really enjoyed it. I don't know. Shout out to y'all. I don't know why y'all enjoyed it so much for sure. And but it was just, and then they were just like people who checked on me even after I left, and we just had this kind of like connection with one another, and I loved that. Like in America, we meet people, and immediately there's like a trust there because we have a cultural connection and all this other stuff. For them, it's like I don't know you, and you look different, and we just gonna see. And then once they see and they realize, they're like, oh my God, I love this person, and then they're just like hella loyal. It was beautiful.
Was you nervous about leaving? Because not only did you leave a state, you left the country.
Yeah, it was like my first time being away from home.
That was your first time?
Yeah, I grew up Maryland, DC. I was home my whole life. And then they kept dropping orders for Germany. And I was like, anybody want to switch with me? Anybody want to switch? And nothing. It was just like, so when I went up for orders again and Germany dropped again, I was like, this must be my destiny. I'm just going to go. But I was nervous as all get out. And it was just like a lot of life going on at the time. So I didn't want to be away from home just to, support my mom and all the life that was going on. And it was tough. It was a really tough transition, but I loved it. And I would go back today if they sent me.
And that was your first duty
That was my
station,
first duty station. Brand new lieutenant, just commissioned, and they sent me to Germany.
Man.
It was beautiful. Spangdahlem Air Base. It was beautiful.
So what made you eventually get out?
Yeah. So, I don't know. There were, like I was saying earlier, there were times where it felt like it fit me and then times where it didn't. And I like people. So being a leader of people, as a personnel officer, I always had big teams of people, and that part I loved. But then there were moments of just all this political gaming, and I didn't want to do it. It didn't feel good in my spirit. And even when I would lead and I would feel like I finally got my footing under me, they would change my job. Right? I would keep the same career field, but I would go do something else. So when I first started, I was running a dining facility. And then as soon as I felt really good and I had a really good rapport with my team, and even when they deployed half of my team, we were still on the ground, making meals and doing all this great stuff for the base. And then as soon as I felt like I can do this, I'm so good at this job, they were like, okay, it's time for you to move on and learn something new, because you're an officer, right? As an airman, you stay in that job for, 4 to 5 years, whatever, maybe 3 to 4 years, right? You stay in the same job so you can really get good at it. As an officer, my job is to lead. So I need to be able to lead in all these facets in this very large organization. And so 18 months later, I'm in a new job and I'm feeling anxious about okay, I got to learn this new thing. I got to learn all these new systems, all these new regulations, and try to lead in the middle of that. But really, I don't understand who I am as a leader because I can't get my feet under me. And that just seemed to be the pattern every time. And so what I had to stick with over the years was, okay, I just need to take care of the people, because I can't learn all the things about the job, right? And so I had to trust that young airman who's been in for 6 years, because they know more about this thing that we're doing than I do as the leader of this whole thing. And so fast forward, I just was tired of never feeling like I could be good at anything. I didn't like that feeling. And I recognized that I would see my peers who just seemed to be getting it quick, would jump into a job and they felt they could be trusted, they were reliable, all these other things. And I was just having a lot of trouble with understanding where my footing would be. Every day would be so different that I would have to I felt like I just had to keep learning a new skill every day. And that just was exhausting to me. And I just didn't want to politic anymore. As a personnel officer, I had to do a big job jar. So I would take care of childcare facilities. I had 2 childcare facilities at my last duty station. I did all the big base concerts, all the big fun stuff to kind of bring the community together. But then I also did mortuary, and I mean a lot of mortuary. And unfortunately, especially in, our young people, when they don't have their footing and when they don't have proper support, some of them die by suicide. And I had to deal with those cases and talk to those parents and that was just hard, and as much as I love people, and I actually do love trauma, and we'll probably talk about that later. But it was just hard to have to look a mom in the eye and say, I know we were supposed to take care of your young person and we didn't, right? And now I have to explain that to you and now walk you through doing a funeral and telling you how great their service was and how much it meant to us. But I still don't know what led them to this route. That for me was heartbreaking. And I had a year where we did about 9 mortuary cases, and that was my last year in. And I was like, I think I'm done.
A 9?
It was 9. It was a mix of deaths, right? I had a person who had a heart attack, right? I had multiple suicides. I had 2 motorcycle accidents. I had a Humvee rollover. So I had a couple different types, but they were all just traumatic in their own way.
So
yeah.
So I mean, that job carries a lot of trauma.
Yes.
So how do you who helps you, because you got to be the person that deliver this news?
So none of my comments are endorsed by the Air Force or by the DOD, because I feel like we gotta If I'm being like completely honest without jeopardizing anything, we don't have good pathways to support.
Oh, okay.
And it took so one, I'll just speak from my perspective. Like I'm a Black female leader, right, of people. So I'm already a unicorn. I'm also a queer leader, right? I'm married to a woman. And so I'm a unicorn in every facet possible. So I was already struggling with like how much of myself can I even be in this uniform, which already carries its own mental load. And for years I couldn't figure out like who I was, like who I could, how much authenticity I could truly bring and still do well here. And so that was already like its own thing. But then leading bigger teams, being in all these spaces where they were predominantly male, predominantly heteronormative, predominantly white, and I'm at this table with natural hair. And at this point, I'm not buttoning up for nobody, because once I became a major, it was like, sorry, here we are. And so I'm at these tables and I'm advocating for people, right? Because I have my own feelings about how women in particular get funneled into this particular career field that is very supportive versus operational. And so I'm in here advocating for people and for children and for the dead and the dying and for the fun that people need to actually have respite. But I couldn't come into those rooms and say, I've had a really hard case and I'm hurting and I can't come to this meeting, right? And I didn't have space to say that because I have to be all these things to all these people all the time without much support. And that was just really difficult. So I don't know if I actually really got the care I needed until things got really dark for me. And unfortunately, at least from my experience, it felt like I had to all but say I'm ready to self-check out if y'all don't take care of me. And when I finally went to the doctor and said, hey, I'm a pretty jovial person, but I'm not feeling good. And today's the day where I feel probably my worst. And so I don't need it to get any worse than this. So somebody needs to react, because I've been coming to y'all, I've been doing the things in silence, right? I've been secretly like messaging my doctor, like, hey, I'm not feeling very good. Now I'm starting to have pain in my body and I need support, but I also have 8 meetings tomorrow. And so we got to figure out something, because I got to lead all of these people. And at one point I had like no support. I mean, like, I had like my boss was gone. So I was the boss and the deputy. I had like, I just didn't have a lot of support in place in the job. And I was like crying out almost to my doctor, like, hey, just, can you like squeeze me into an appointment? And they're like, let me see what I can do. Let me get you a referral. Let me do this. Let me do that. And I was just like, so now we 3 months into me suffering.
Ooh.
Like, what are we going to do about that? Right. So I'll tell you a short story that kind of broke the camel's back for me. So in 2024, I'm the commander, I'm the deputy commander, and I'm the mortuary officer for the entire installation. And I was getting ready for surgery. I had some medical things going on, and I had been waiting for this surgery for about a year because, TRICARE.
Yeah.
You know this as a veteran, right? And so I've been waiting for this surgery for a while. And I go to get kind of like my final checkups for this surgery, and they find something in my brain, like a swelling. And something we didn't know about. But I had been hearing this like weird whooshing in my ears for a while, but I ignored it because that's what we do. We ignore these things. And so I go to the doctor, and they're like, hey, we've found this thing. We need to cancel your surgery that's supposed to happen in 2 days, and you actually need to go to the ER. And so I go to the ER, or I'm getting ready to go to the ER, and an airman dies in a motorcycle accident connected to the base. So of course, Major Bland now has to show up. So Latetia Bland needs to go to the ER, but Major Bland has to show up in this space because this young person just died in a motorcycle accident on his lunch break. And part of that job is like going to go see the body, like fresh out of whatever just happened to it. And so I had to do that. And then from going to the funeral home where he was in my uniform, I had to go to the hospital because they were like, we need to get you checked out like soon. So I'm sitting with my laptop in the ER, IV in, like typing, taking phone calls. And my wife is sitting there and she's like, okay, so do you see what's happening around you? Like the doctor can't touch you because you are in the middle of a phone call and we're in the ER. What are you doing? Right. And I was like, but I can't not show up, right? Like this is an emergent situation. This isn't like a couple emails I need to send. This is a 27-year-old whose mom is flying in 2 days to receive his body. I got to show up for her, right? But in the middle of this, I got to show up for myself. And oh, by the way, they're canceling this surgery that I've been waiting on for a year. So it was just like this tornado of things going on. And I was like, I can't live like this. I can't have another scenario like this where I don't have support or care or, And so that was when I was just like, you know what, to get back to your question from 30 minutes ago, that's when I finally decided that like, I need to be in a career that allows me to show up for me. And this isn't it anymore.
If they had done a better job supporting you, you feel like you would have stayed?
Probably not, if I'm being honest.
Oh.
Because the next job, I was leading a squadron of 300 people roughly. The next job would have just been 600 people. And I would have led that and had to do the same stuff. And I would have just still, even with a whole team, still would have had to ignore my body because I had been watching commanders do this for years. I had watched all my commanders send me emails at 4 a.m. and be at work at 9 p.m. when their kid is at home sleeping. I had watched all of this happen for years. So I knew it was only a matter of time that it would happen to me. So it was like, okay, I'm watching y'all not have balance, but look like you have balance, but you don't, right? Or I'm meeting especially women leaders, some of them on their second marriage, third marriage, because they can't give themselves to their partner. I really love my partner. Mm-hmm. Like that's my homie and my partner in life. I ain't trying to separate because I am giving so much of myself to this institution and not enough to her. And y'all can replace me at any moment. And I watched it happen in real time where I was able to be replaced, by someone and move on. So I didn't want that.
You mentioned that divorce rate is high. Mm-hmm. But you have a wife. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it's different? A woman would be more understanding than a man? No, absolutely not.
I mean, now I'll be honest with you, right? I've never been married to a man, right? So I don't know the inside, right? I only know what my friends will give me in terms of their relationship dynamic. But what I think about just the humanity of a relationship, gender out of the context, your partner wants more of you. Yeah. Your partner will always want more of you, right? They want the real version of you, but they want all of you. And they don't want this kind of like broken mailed piece of you that comes home after work. Yeah. And that's what I was giving. It was like I had been putting on a mask, right? Because I'm Major Bland, so I have to put on this mask and I have to smile at everyone and kiss the babies and politic and all these things. And then I go home and I am like in pieces because I've been ignoring pain all day. I've been ignoring my own mental health. I have been lying to my own body just to get through the day. And so when I came home, it was just like, okay, I'm finally safe enough to check in. And when I'm checking in, I actually have to deal with me. So I can't even deal with my partner. So I'm literally making dinner in my uniform. And then we are both going to bed. And we haven't talked. We haven't connected. We haven't done anything because I have given all of me to my job and giving nothing to you at home.
Was there ever a point that you feared you may lose your marriage?
Absolutely. Ooh. Oh, we did marriage therapy for 2.5 years roughly because there was a moment of like, hey, maybe actively decoupling is something we need to start talking about.
Decoupling?
Decoupling.
What is?
So it's I don't know. It's probably a millennial way to describe divorce, right?
See, y'all don't know what I am. I'm 45. I'm one of them gens.
We in here, right? You're technically a millennial, right? But we love to find language that feels comfortable. Okay. Right. And so getting ready for a divorce feels inactive. It feels passive, right? Like it feels like we're just going to let it fail. Whereas like we talked about decoupling, what would it mean to not be a couple anymore? That means assets, money, time, relationships, location, right? Because now I've moved her to Colorado, right? Away from her family on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. So we now have to talk about that like as a unit, because we have to figure out what getting rid of this looks like. And as we were there, it was just like, honestly, girl, I ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. Like, let's just figure this out. And we did. And I think we did a good job, right? We faced some hard truths and one of the biggest ones was, hey, you're not giving me anything. Like the girl I dated long distance gave me a whole lot because we would see each other and that's all we focused on was each other when we would link up. And we would have fun and we would do all these great things. We would travel, so on and so forth. And then when she wasn't around, what she didn't see was me working till 11 p.m. every day and going to work at 6 a.m. because I had to PT and write all the things. So I would tell her about it, but she didn't see it. Okay. And so then when we moved together, she's watching me give everything to work and then come home pissed that you asking me to connect with you. What you want from me, and I'm upset. And it's like, no, actually, I just want you to connect with me like we kind of committed to when we decided that this was our future. And I was not giving it. I was just like, girl, why are you asking so much of me? And she's like, wait, maybe you should question why that job is asking so much of you.
Man, that's tough. Like in the military, because they ask
a lot.
And as much as they ask of every soldier, a leader, they ask even more.
Even more. Because I got to get you through me asking you to give up everything about you. I got to get you through that. I got to talk you through that. So I'm talking to airmen about the marriages that are actively breaking up. The fact that you just had a newborn, but I'm deploying you to a different location for 8 months. Sorry. That's it. That's all I got for you. I'm so sorry. We're going to do our best to support your partner while they're here and your baby who's going to be walking when you get home. Ooh. Right? It's that stuff.
So did you ever get the chance clearly it wasn't enough, but did you even get a chance to sit down with a therapist? Like
I did eventually. I did. So I shout out to Military One Source, even though they got some things going on right now. When I was still trying to operate in silence, I reached out to Military One Source and they were able to get me a therapist pretty quickly. And it was private, like my leadership chain didn't know. So, early in my career, everybody was afraid of getting their clearance taken away if they were like, hey, I'm just feeling a little bit of depression, some anxiety, blah, blah, blah. And the job inherently makes you anxious because you never know what's coming. And so you're always trying to plan as much as you can for the future, right? So this anxiety that nobody's giving language to, we're just kind of suffering with. And so I did that in silence for a little while and then reached out to Military One Source and got a counselor. And that for me was great. It was when I was a captain, so maybe 7 years in. And that for me was phenomenal because it really helped. And I think it's what kept me in for another couple of years to at least be able to level set and have some language. But when I had to be in like a bigger leadership role, it was probably a lot of me too, just letting it get too far in how my body was feeling, how my mind was feeling. And then that was when I kind of had that, like, hey, I'm really in this darker place and I need somebody to react. And then I was able to sit down with a counselor, but even then it was just like, hey girl, so let's talk about ADHD and why you're having this kind of anxiety. And let's talk about this thing and that thing. And okay, let's get you some meds and then get you good enough to carry a gun so you can go back to work. And that's kind of how it was.
How'd you feel about taking meds?
I hated it. I still hate it. But I recognize that it's either that or not being able to function.
You can't function without the meds?
I think that there are, right? So having ADHD, so I got diagnosed a year ago and realizing that like executive functioning was playing into my anxiety. It's very hard for me to flip from task to task. But when you are running a unit of 300 people, flipping from task to task is your day. And so me having that difficulty was really hard, and it played into a lot of the anxiety I was feeling. It was just like, oh my God, if someone else comes in here to talk to me about something, like I am not going to get this thing done that my boss needs from me, and now I'm trying to weigh these pros and cons and I just don't have it. So the meds kind of helped like bring that down a little bit. And I was able to feel a little bit less anxiety so I could set a boundary like, hey, I got an hour for you. Like, this is my open time for y'all to come in, but then I absolutely have to take this hour for emails so that I can actually get home on time and have a real dinner with my wife that doesn't include both of my phones and my laptop in my lap, So it gave me the space to not be so anxious about level setting my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think the part, because it seems like now people are getting diagnosed with ADHD later in life.
Yes.
What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think that millennials have been high functioning ADHD their entire lives. We experienced a litany of back-to-back tragedies and have been anxious really since the 90s. Like we just are. We're high functioning. We want to do well, but have not really been given the tools to understand ourselves. We've been in this, school system that doesn't necessarily prepare us for adult life. I think the generation before us was also in survivor mode and just trying to do the best that they could, and not necessarily breaking any curses or unlearning a lot of things. Not the whole generation, right? But some of us, at least in my experience, and people of color, I would argue, or experience some of that, and not really being able to break any curses. And then we get to this space where I'm thinking about what my mother's needs are, my family's needs are. I'm thinking about what my needs are. I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about the changes in my life, maybe even children, if children come into play for some people. And now I have all these things spinning around me and I don't have any tools. And what that is that my attention is off, right? My attention is everywhere. And it's just some other things, right? I don't think anyone teaches us how to properly task manage before we go into adulthood. And so executive functioning is now it just becomes will or skill. Like you either got this skill or someone's willing to teach it to you, or you're willing to learn it, or you just operate in a world where you don't have it. And I will argue that just a lot of people don't have it. And I think one of the things that my therapist told me when I finally got one was you were able to function with ADHD for so long without it being diagnosed. And then we put more things on you. Because one of the things, at least for me, how my ADHD shows up is I'll like overwork and overperform. So I was like performing as major planning. I was giving you like the SAG card performance of who I was. And so you were seeing that, and then more things would get piled on me because people would see this kind of strength, this leadership strength in me. So they would just add more things to my plate. And as things were getting added and in my performance, I would say, all right, give me that thing. I'll take that on. I know I can do it. I'll take that on. I'll take this on. I'll take this on too. And I'll take this on and I'll take this on. And now I'm like, wait, this plate is too big for me. And I can't consume it. I can't deal with it. And now I've battle tested this ADHD that I've been masking for a while, when in fact I've had it this whole time.
Did you feel any hesitation or shame about taking medication for it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was a chamomile Hills All kind of girl.
A what?
A chamomile Hills All. Like I would, if you go in my cabinet in my house right now, there's a big old closet of tea, because I'm like, oh, you got a headache? Let me go on and mix you up a little bit of chamomile, some papaya leaves, whatever. Like that's me. Right. But I think there was a element of, okay, there ain't enough papaya on this planet to get this to work in this system. Like inside of all of the things that I know are going to be thrown on me. What I probably should have done was had a lesson about boundaries too. And I don't think I was getting that. I don't think I even knew that this is actually probably part way a boundary issue. And it would probably help. I still needed the meds, but it would probably at least help me not take on so much on my plate.
Did the meds help?
Yeah, some kind of. I mean, I don't want to de-endorse any pharmaceutical companies, but I recognize that like things that are meant to stabilize your brain also need to come with blood work. And the problem with the insurance that comes with military is that they're more of a try and fail kind of system. And so they'll just be like, you know what, try this thing and see how it goes. Instead of, hey, let me do some blood work on you. Let's monitor your blood work over the course of 3 months and then give you a very small dosage and then take your blood work every month until we figure out if it's balancing you or not. Right? Like that's going to be expensive on the American taxpayer. So we don't do that. We just throw you a Concerta script, a Vyvanse script, an Adderall script and hope for the best. Well, meanwhile, one of those three I just named is getting recalled because it's giving people suicidal ideation. Right? Like, so we don't do this guessing and checking. So I don't know. I think some of the meds did help quiet down some of it. And again, like I said, manage the anxiety so that I could actually proceed with my day. But then they come with some weird side effects. And I just, so that's where like the shame comes from too. Like, why can't I just learn the skills to make myself better? And then now being a therapist, it's like, well, why can't I just use the tools that I'm giving everybody else to take care of me?
You know what? Since you said that, you think it would be easier to cope if you wasn't a therapist?
No.
Okay.
No. I will still, at the end of the day, be a Black woman in America.
No. Okay, no.
Sorry,
okay.
maybe I'm missing it.
No. Let me rephrase it because I
Yeah,
want to make
please.
sure I'm clear.
Yeah.
But because you said you being a therapist, you felt like you should have. There's almost
Some more shame packed onto that.
yeah.
I think no, I think I would just find something else to shame myself about.
Oh,
I think a lot of us do that. A lot of us are sitting around thinking like, I should do this. I should be this. I should. And we do this. We do this comparison, especially with social media. Like I'm looking at somebody else's life and I'm like, oh my God, you have it all figured out. And so we sit around and say, man, I should have it figured out too. I'm almost 40, like blah, blah, blah. And so I think I would just unfortunately find something else. And so at least for me, it feels like I'm in a more helpful place,
okay.
to manage all of it, And as I'm giving my clients tools, I'm like, you know what? That would probably work for me too, girl. Like, and that's how those sessions be. I'm like, actually, I'm probably healing my own stuff, sitting having this conversation.
When did you get comfortable with your decision to get out?
When did I get comfortable? I don't think I'll ever be truly comfortable.
No?
Being honest with you. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that answer.
Really?
No.
Well, right? Like, I mean, you were in. So there's like a camaraderie to it all, right? Like there's you go through you've been through boot camp.
Yeah, I did.
And you go through boot camp and you're like, wow, that was a really terrible time and the food was awful and the people yelled at me every day. But man, I miss those guys.
Like, yeah, it is
right?
kind of weird.
It's like Stockholm syndrome. Like I'm in love with my captor, like a lot, My old boss compared it to like a toxic relationship. Like, you finally getting over that girl. Y'all been at it for years and you just like, you know what? I'm so tired of it, And then they hit you with that WYD text at like 10 o'clock. And you like, you know what? Let me go on and throw on my slides and my gray sweatpants and slide over there. And that's what it's like. It's just like, oh, you want to make me a major and pay me more money a month and put me in this role that makes me feel like I can affect and help more people? Okay. That's that WYD text. And I was like, that is so real to me. Like, it is. And not to say that, like, all of it was toxic, right? There are good moments.
Oh, I'm sure you did it for a long time.
Yeah. So. And right, like, I deployed and had the best time of my life, even though I had to shower daggone near a mile away from my tent, right? Or I had to eat this food that was very questionable at times. Yeah. But, like, the people kept me there, Mm-hmm. And so there are plenty of days. I mean, even on my Veterans Day post a couple of days ago, like I was just like, it's the people. I miss the people. I miss having access to people and being in these spaces where we have a natural like connection to one another because of the thing that we all signed up to do. And just having like, I don't know, just this kind of innate camaraderie. Like I miss that. And I think I'll always miss that. And it's only been 4 months, since I was in uniform every day. Okay. And it's still like, I kind of miss y'all. Like I kind of miss this. Like, how was staff meeting? Just tell me about it. Like, or like I keep my uniform hung up in my closet. I don't need it. I don't wear it, Can't wear it with this hair, but I'm just looking at it. Like, no, when I go reserve, I'm wearing a wig. So it's just, it's those things of like, I think I miss the culture and I think I'll always miss the culture. So there'll always be a piece of me that's a little regretful. Like, oh, I could have gone farther. Oh, I could have done one more deployment. Oh, Lieutenant Colonel Bland sounds real good. Like there's those pieces and it's designed that way. The military is designed for you to love it and stay as long as you want to. And, cause they don't pay you enough. So that you got to love it. It's like how we do teachers. You got to love these kids because we're never going to pay you enough to actually take care of them. And so I think it's the same for us. It's just like, I'm going to demand 24 hours of your body and your mind and your spirit and your energy. And I'm never going to pay you enough for that. So you got to love your country and love your fellow, airmen, sailors, soldiers, what have you. And that's the life. And so I do. I love it.
We talked about, you kind of alluded to it. Mm-hmm. Black people with mental health. Mm-hmm. Where do you think we stand today?
Black people and mental health?
Yeah.
In terms of?
Just like, do you think we're doing a good job with it? Like, do you think because it was, at a time it was, it was taboo to say, hey, I'm not okay.
You better just go ahead and pray.
I'm going to see it. Yeah. We that was a lot, praying things away. Mm-hmm. But now, now mental health is being talked about more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was saying, where do you think we stand today with it?
I think we are better, right? I think us as millennials, because you are a millennial, whether you own it or not, you're in it.
I'm gonna have to look up the age
Look,
thing.
you're in it. But I think we have broken a lot of stuff, right? Because I would argue we're the first generation who didn't touch like slavery or civil rights. Like we didn't have to touch it, right? I mean, we're touching it in our own way. But like our parents, like my mom was born in the 60s. Like she still had to touch some of the trauma that was going on. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
I actually have a generation of separation between me and what my mom had to see, right?
Okay.
And her, I had the privilege of growing up with a great grandmother, a great great grandmother. So like my connection to what my grandmothers went through in the South was touchable. Like I could talk to my great great grandmother about what she experienced in 1930, whereas my mom had to like live with a person who had to survive that, live around this person who survived that. So her connection to the trauma was a lot closer than mine is. So I actually have a little bit more space to create for myself, to now create a new legacy for my family and create a new legacy for myself. Whereas I don't know if our parents really had that because they just had to survive what their parents survived because their parents had to survive what their parents survived. And so we're constantly in this cycle where I can't focus on like evolving. I just need to survive. And there's some pieces of evolution, right? I'm not saying that they're all unevolved, but there's still like, all right, I just got to work my way out of poverty, or I got to work my way into something that feels joyful. Whereas now I think our generation is saying, I not only want to feel joy, but I also want a little bit of softness, and I also want balance, and I also want legacy, and I also want the generation that comes after me to never have to go through the things I went through or what my parents went through. And I think we are better at that now. I think we have better language. I think we have access to resources. I think we have language for what our ancestors went through, all of those generations, and we're able to actually speak to it and change it. Because when you can call it out, you can actually change it. Whereas like my grandmama wasn't talking about anxiety, right? She wasn't talking about the fact that she cooked an entire Thanksgiving meal for 30 people all on her own with no help at all and feeling some kind of way about that for days and days and days. It's like, oh, that's anxiety, and this is a small example, but that's anxiety that our grandmothers were feeling and thinking and up all night, oh, somebody on my nerve, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh no, you're just feeling anxious. Like but she didn't have that language when she was going through all of that, and neither did our mothers and so on. So now we have language. I can call out anxiety. I can say, oh, I'm feeling anxious. And then because I can name it, I can find a tool for it. I can do deep breathing. I can do some grounding. I can set a boundary, and that's available to us now. And so I would argue that we are doing significantly better as a community. I went to like a public health conference, and I sat on a panel with a pastor, and he was phenomenal, pastor at Shiloh Baptist Church. And he talked about how like, I believe that you should pray and talk to a therapist. Like, and I that being in a church environment to me is like, yes. Like I think if we had to talk about what mountaintop we were going to make it to in this generation, like that's the one. I think to have that kind of language from a pastor is fire, and I think all pastors should be talking like that.
So because we talked about the whole praying and the way thing. Yeah. So you think now it's starting to be talked about more in church?
I don't know. I don't go to church, but I think having connected with spiritual leaders in predominantly Black communities, I recognize that is part of their lexicon now, whereas it wasn't when I was coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, there are pastors who are talking about all kinds of things today that they weren't talking about, like accepting gay members in their parish, right? Like in their, or whatever they call congregation. Sorry, I think that's the word I'm looking for. But like, and being okay with like people being there with their same-sex spouse. Like preachers are talking about that instead of condemning.
Because you said that, and you said you don't go to church. Was that one of the reasons you didn't go to church?
I don't, right? So you know how people joke about people being hoteps? I was one of the original hoteps. Like, so hoteps are like very black you know what I'm talking about. Like black conscious like people, right? I was the head rap, Erykah Badu, like light and sage walking into a building. I was that, right? And I'm still kind of that girl, right? But I was far like a hotep, like, you know, like what do they say now? What's the word? What oh my God, what do they say now? Not season. I don't know why season's greetings is the one, but grand rising. Yeah, you know, people are like grand rising, my brother. Like that was me, right? Like I would dap you up and be like, hotep, brother, hotep. Like it just, you know, that was me. And so I recognized that, like, you were cracking up. And I recognized that, like, that was, so I was already kind of evolving, I think, in a more African-centered spirituality to begin with, and also feeling rejected from a church I grew up in as a woman who identified differently from heterosexuality. And so those two things coupled, feeling like I wanted to be more connected to my African roots, but also feeling like the place that I gathered all of my foundational principles will not accept me because of something that I didn't change about me that I couldn't control. And essentially telling me that, like, I'm going to hell and God doesn't love me because of who I didn't choose to be, you know, is like, yeah, I don't need to be here no more, clearly, you know. And then what I learned through African spirituality, and even now what I would define as my own like belief in spirituality, is that like me and God be chilling. We straight. So whatever y'all got going on over there, y'all can have it. But I think I'm not as closed off to spiritual leaders in every facet when they are open to talk about just people and the love of God in general, because I didn't make me this way, and none of us are made, like, we're made this way in God's image. So if I'm made in God's image, then this is me. I'm natural. I didn't change. I'm not doing anything devilish or, you know, whatever people say. Like I'm made in God's image. If you believe in God, if you believe in the Christian God, then you believe that all of us are made in God's image. So am I. And so is that trans kid who y'all keep disparaging. Like we're made in God's image. Yeah. God is the original they, them, but people don't want to talk about that because they don't like that language.
You said, wait a minute, what?
God is the original they, them. God doesn't have to have a gender. If God is so omniscient, God don't have to have a gender. So why are we worried about this boy who wears a dress? Who cares? This is a social construct that we've invented as humans to make sense of the world, sure, but who cares? Like let that little boy, little girl, little they, them be themselves and not preach out against it so much so that we condemn them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a I could say for me personally, it's a tough subject because you grow up one way.
Yeah, of course.
And as you get older, things just, you know, you start meeting different people, meeting more people. Because I mean, there was a time I'm in my mind, I was like, no, I wouldn't have no gay friends. I mean,
yeah,
until you start meeting more gay people, and it's like, well, we didn't cross that hurdle.
Yeah, he still like football.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
y'all
like,
still wear the same Jordans or whatever. You know, like
because I think now, because the world has become more accepting of it, and it's not as taboo as it used to be. Like I'm 45, and to have like when you go to school and have like a gay classmate or something, it was a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal now, you know. And we, you know, it's just a tough, because I mean, again, when you've grown up a certain way, that's just what you believe. Yeah. So, but me personally, it's just like I've gotten to a point of acceptance where I'm just like, I mean, look, if that's how you live your life and it's not affecting me, because I don't go to church as much as I used to, but I mean that don't have nothing to do with it. It's just who I am as a person. Yeah. I've just changed. Like it's just things you see in church, and you just like, I don't know if I feel like dealing with that.
Yeah, because it's got its own politics, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a hierarchy to church, similar to the military. There's you know what I mean? Like let's be honest, right? There's a certain way you have to dress. So there's a uniform. There's a certain everybody, there's a rank and file. You have your reverends, you have your pastors, you have your bishops, you have like, it's the military. Yeah. We create these hierarchies and these structures because it's how we like, it's what we think is functional, and we make these to be functional. But the problem is they also come with like power and control that we often have to unpack. And like, I don't need to be controlled by a pastor to have connection with God. Yeah. I don't need it. Like, the fellowship is beautiful. Like, I will, on a Sunday morning, I will absolutely play Kirk Franklin because I miss the music. I miss the fellowship of it all. Or I'll go to like, like a church event because I love the community of it. But if you're telling me that this is my only pathway to my deity, then like, it's not.
Well, they have a lot of churches now.
Yeah.
For the LGBT, right?
There's like Unitarian churches and all of that. But I think in my, right, and this goes back to like the, kind of African-centered spirituality, Kemetic spirituality. I recognize that like, I don't think the Bible speaks to my experience or any, I think it's a book of fables. Most religious texts are just like a book of fables on how you should live your life. And like, so to me, they're like suggestions of, and like these fun stories, like the rabbit, the turtle and the hare, you know what I mean? It's a fable of like how you should be patient and not talk a bunch of junk to the turtle because he's going to beat you in the race, right? It's a fable. And that's what I feel about the Bible. So I think even outside of how I identify in the world, I think to me, it wouldn't fit if I was heteronormative either. Like it wouldn't fit me.
Did you grow up going to church?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up, my grandfather was a pastor, had his own church. So I grew up in that church. I was the usher. I was on a church step team, youth choir, you name it. Like I did all of that. And even as a teen, I tried to find religion on my own when I didn't want to go to my grandfather's church anymore. Okay. And then still found the same politicking and hierarchy and all the things I just didn't want to deal with in my own journey.
So has your family accepted you now? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Do you see how fun I am? My family love me.
Hey, listen, it's a lot. It's a lot of fun people that.
No, I know. I'm just joking. I get what you're saying. I mean, they do love me, but I get what you're saying. I think it took some time, right? I think what I had to learn in my own journey was giving space for people to grieve what they thought my life would be, right? Mm. I think when I came out at 17, so like, and I'm 37. Early. Yeah, this is the time where you figure out who you are, right? My hormones said one thing and that was it. And so I think, it took some time for my folks to be like, okay, we imagined you with a husband right around 6 feet tall with a white picket fence and 2 kids and a dog. Like, this is what we imagined for your life. You need time to grieve that. Yeah. You need to grieve what you thought my life would be when you had a little girl. And that's okay, right? And you need to be open-minded to figure out what this kind of unknown is. And what I love my mom to death, and what she learned in her own, just like figuring out who I was that like at the core of it, I just want my daughter to experience love. Yeah. And once everybody figured that out, it was like, yo, we love your wife. We love you. You look happy as all get out. That's all we want for you. And like that for me was, I don't know if it was acceptance or tolerance. It was just, I just want my kid to love and feel loved and feel comfortable and happy. And you have all of that. So that's really that was the fantasy I wanted for you. Yeah, it was embodied by something different, like the husband and the kids and the white picket fence. But really the core of it was just, I just wanted you to feel love and to be safe in that love, right? No one's abusing you or harming you. And once we figured that was what my life was, okay. She coming to Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think for me personally, I think that the thing that has brought me peace is just getting to know people. Like, because I have my own ideas, my own perspective. It is what it is.
Is it what it is?
You say,
is it concrete? Like, is your ideals about like?
No, it's just like for me. Yeah. You got the man, the woman, and like because we talked before. Before we started recording, you told me you had a wife, and I was like, oh.
He was like,
it took me off guard.
Yeah. I also present as straight, right? In the common lexicon, people see me and they're like, you're feminine, you got nails, you got like, clearly you like men. It's like, no.
But yeah, see, I mean, because we both know in
Yeah.
any relationship, there's going to be the masculine and the feminine person.
No, man.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me
Femmes date femmes, studs date studs.
I ain't never seen that.
Oh, it happens all the time. But you're not in the community. You wouldn't know that.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you're not in the community. You wouldn't know that. Because we still, in our own way, in our own access to survival, in the social context of survival, sometimes we will form relationships that look heteronormative because that seems easier for people to tolerate. Right? Yes. Like if you, can we cuss on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, or really just talk about things on the more risque side. Okay, you talk about. Okay. So on the more risque side, when you start integrating with people who operate outside of like society's context, like kinky people, right? Where men are dressing however they want to dress and women are dressing however they want to dress, and they treat each other outside of normal, or not normal, but what our society deems as normal, like a man being submissive to his woman who's a dominatrix, right? Like when you have these contexts that operate outside of society's norms, you start realizing that like this is actually the truest version of someone's self. This like, for example, if I meet a couple that has that kind of dynamic, that man is just tired of having to dominate everything in his entire life and wants some submission. He wants softness too, because you all deserve that. And so meeting those folks actually like changes my context of like normal. Like this couple can operate outside of survival now because they can both be the truest versions of themselves without fear in these spaces, in these like kinkier or BDSM spaces. They can operate in safety. Whereas sometimes in our societal, in our quest to be normal, seen as normal in society, we'll form relationships that have the masculine and the feminine, and we'll make sure that we like are towing this very like acceptable line so that you will tolerate me. When really, my wife who does wear Jordans and a baseball cap also deserves softness, right? It doesn't have to show up as masculine if she doesn't want to, right? And that be okay, and that still be acceptable and tolerable to society. And I feel like the more I'm meeting people who just live their lives differently, I'm learning that like we are actually, when we start operating outside, or at least testing how we live outside of the norms of society, we actually become significantly freer in our personhood and our humanity. And like, so I love watching people who are just like operating outside of, I don't know, the matrix, I guess. I feel like I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but you know, like they're operating outside of this thing that we've just, okay, well, this is normal and this is abnormal, and we should look down at this abnormal thing. It's like, no, we're all normal. We're all just living our lives.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know that was a long way to get after that. But, you know,
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I mean, because I mean, as men, yeah, there's times where you do want to be taken care of.
Yes,
Like,
you want to be the little spoon, and there's nothing wrong with that.
well.
There's nothing wrong with it. I know you're going to admit it on the bike, but men deserve that. Men deserve to like experience joy. Men deserve to call their male friend on the phone and say, "Man, I love you, and thank you so much for being my friend." And like hugging each other for longer than what is like a gay 10-second hug. You know what I mean? Like everything y'all do that is just caring and loving doesn't have to be gay. It doesn't have to be soft. It doesn't. It's just love.
Now, I will say this. I think as you get older, you do get more comfortable with being genuine, because I'm much more comfortable now telling my friends I love them.
Yeah.
I know what happens in life is you experience pain, you experience loss.
Absolutely.
And you know, I've sat at funerals and I'm like, man, I don't even know if I ever told that person I love them.
That's hard.
And I always told myself I don't ever want to sit at a funeral again and even have to question if I told the person that I love them, if I really love them. Now, if I'm at your funeral as a coworker, good luck.
Okay.
My condolences, my prayers, and all that. But listen, I didn't love you, but there was a strong like for you.
Yeah.
Like
That's easy.
my cousin who's recording us now, that's my brother. I love him.
Yeah.
And I tell him I love him. Like even now, but it wasn't always that way. When we were younger, we hang up the phone. All right, man, click.
Yeah. It was abnormal.
Yeah, but at 45, I understand, God forbid something could happen. and I have to tell him I love him now.
Yeah.
So that way,
Because life is
every
short.
morning, one of the things I don't want to be mourning is, did he know I love him? He know I love him.
Yeah.
The people that I genuinely love, they know I love him.
Yeah.
So I make sure to tell them.
That's beautiful. And you should.
Yeah.
You deserve that. And you deserve for someone to tell you they love you.
I'm really fortunate. Like people, like, you get these people who, people don't do this, and people, nah, man. Look, God has blessed me.
Yeah.
I got a lot of good people who pour into me and tell me they supporting me.
Yeah.
I mean, of course you got people who don't, but I don't pay them no mind. Like, that's not worth my energy. For what? Like, if I'm in a room with 10 people and it's 2 people, hey man, look, I love what you're doing. That's what I'm worried about. The other 8,
whatever.
Like, leave the room. I don't know.
You know how many people there are on this planet? Your opinion does not move me. And remembering that, like, now even practicing therapy, and quick shout out to the therapy practice I work for, Infinite Wellness, is really how you and I really got connected, because I was there on behalf of Infinite Wellness in Largo, Maryland. But they are a predominantly Black, organization. All the therapists are Black, and we have male therapists, female therapists. But one of the things that we get to do is offer like a safe space for you to be the fullest and best version of yourself, whatever that might look like, and have a safe like insulation to test that. To talk about the real things that you think about, the hard things that you think about, the grief that you couldn't talk about because it didn't feed into this tough man narrative that you had. And people will cry in my office about grief that they could never do in front of the people in their community, right? Like, but it's because we've built this, right? And I don't want to discredit all the things that we built as a community, because we built this out of survival. Everything, we are so resilient. We are especially people of color, we've had to be. So we have this beautiful resilience that we have built brick by brick, test by test, and it's great. But the problem is, when you build such a big brick wall around something, it takes so much for someone to get in when you need the resources. Yeah. And so, being a therapist, being able to give someone just a space where you can cry and no one is judging you for it. Like, we need to create those spaces earlier. I don't want you to realize at 40 something that you now have a safe space to tell your cousin you love him. I want you to be able to do that at 13, when your brain and your body are starting to do different things because of puberty. I need you to know that then, so that by the time that you're 18 and you're considered an adult, but you don't have any like safe space to feel, to think outside the box. You don't have that. Like, I want to change that trajectory for someone. I want that 13-year-old to be free. That, to me, that is breaking the curse, right? I want you to not have to worry about that, and I think we as adults who are realizing some of the things that were baked into us to feel and be normal for our own survival, I think we can let those go now. They serve their purpose, and we thank them. We're so grateful for the things that we were taught, but it is time to let it go, and it's okay.
I want to end with a positive.
Yeah, let's do it.
What is exciting you most about now, like this new chapter? Because now you're not Major Blaine or what it's gonna be.
What is exciting me? Honestly, it's so, right, we're going to end on a positive, but it is exciting and scary to do something different. And I think it's important to acknowledge the fear of doing something different. But I'm excited to do the thing that I believe I'm supposed to do to pay my rent on earth. Like Maya Angelou talks about paying our rent on earth. And I'm excited to give back in a different way, because I feel like my entire career was giving back. Yeah. I gave a lot of myself to my military time, and I'm excited to give back to my community. I'm excited to be in these spaces and unpack real things from a very real perspective. I'm excited to make mistakes that won't end my career because that's how I'm learning, right? Shout out to my boss at Infinite Wellness who deals with my stuff. Because I have freedom to like make a mistake and not be so anxious about making the mistake. And, oh God, what about my clearance? What do all 300 of these people think of me if I make this mistake? Like, and I'm just excited to be like a freer version of myself. Like I can be in a therapy interaction and be like, girl, he said what? And what'd you say? Oh, okay. Right. And I can do that. And whereas like in the meetings when I was in uniform, like I could kind of be myself. Like people got used to me. I had to get used to me, and then people got used to me. And so I would bring a little flavor, a little spice to a meeting or to whatever. But now I can do it where everyone in the room kind of understands. Yeah. I'm like, that for me is dope. I'm excited about that. Nervous, but I'm ready for whatever, like being open to everything that's coming to me. And things are, right? Like that conversation with you that led us to this moment was like happenstance. Yeah. It was one yes in the series of events that led us here. And like that for me is exciting. Like, let's do more of that.
Well, listen, thank you for taking the time to do this. Also, thank you for your service. 14 years, that's a long time. And I'm sure you served the country well, and I'm looking forward to seeing everything you got moving forward.
No, thank you. Thank you for being a taxpayer. Because we needed that. Yeah. No, I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Oh, definitely. Before we end, please tell the people like how they can follow you.
Oh, goodness.
Company and all that stuff.
Yeah, like promoting ourselves. Let's start doing that. Maybe another thing I'm excited for. So if people are looking for therapy or therapy resources, Infinite Wellness, email info@infinitewellnesstherapy.com if you are looking for resources that understand you and have some cultural competency so you feel a little safer walking in the door. IW Therapy on Instagram is our handle. If people want to reach out to me directly, my Instagram handle is @Thurgood&Plenty. That's THERGOOD and Plenty, common spelling. And just reach out to me for whatever. I'm down to just, if you can't tell, I really like to talk. So I'm always down to talk. But yeah, that's me. And you're going to get some therapy resources because I love all of the content creators who are doing therapy for people who look like me, sound like me, operate in the world that I do. And so you'll see a lot of that on my page too. But yeah, holla at me.
All right. Well, again, thank you for doing this. Thank you. I just wish you all the best moving forward.
Same to you.
Thanks. I want to take the time to thank everyone for listening to the podcast and watching the podcast. I truly appreciate the support. You can follow me on Instagram at conversations_with_Lamp. My Facebook is also Conversations with Lamp. You can listen to the podcast on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts, and you can watch it on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. Again, thank you all for listening. Have a great day.